Good evening. We're going to be talking about interpersonal communication today. My name is Carolyn Bailey. We're going to start out by just giving you a little synopsis of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about introduction, defining what interpersonal communication is. We're going to be giving you a little bit about our overarching goal and enlarging the conversation. We're going to be defining potential barriers, and we're going to give you some identifications of external, internal noise. So interpersonal is works that sort of correspond that happen when the individual include talk and listen in ways that augment the vanity of individual. We got this definition out of Stewart. Individual personality, we're talking about interpersonal communication. It specifies people's individualities. We're talking about how we're going to deal with people individually versus their roles and characteristics. Point out the way that they talk, their uniqueness. We're going to talk about their unmeasurability, their responsiveness, brilliance, and addressability. Then the correspondence between them and the interpersonal skills. Our overall master goal, we're talking about the individuals are stunned of a negative dialogue, how this negative dialogue has turned into propensity. And from Berkeley and Allen, we talk about my personal goal, it's talking about inside point of view, and it brings out negative conflict if we're not conscious of what we're presenting. We're going to be mindful of listening, talking about enlarging our conversation. And the mindfulness is a psychic and body cooperating to impart mindful listening that obliges us to see and feel and hear with your entire being. Also talk about how Stewart used the stomach and the chest to discuss how we feel when we're dealing with those emotional type things. So he described in the book about, we still talk about enlarging our conversation, how our stomach pushes against our bodies when we're feeling overwhelmed emotionally. He talks about how it affects the brain and how it flattens people and the tendencies. At the point when things happen, our framework becomes unsettled, bringing about the influence how we impart others. My background is talking about I am African American. I'm a female. I came from a one-parent home. My siblings, I had 6 of them. I have a moderate tone, pretty persistent and determined. My positive influence is my family, my church support. I'm pretty intellectual and inspiring. And we deal with my negative influences. Sometimes I'm overly processing. There are times I'm pretty risky, reserved in large crowds, and often hide out in crowds. And Cardinal talked about the behavior blends, different types of ways that we can distinguish the type of person that we are, how we're people-oriented, or we can be active, or we can be passive at times, so it also kind of gets into assessing us and how we can actually become. Behavior blends continues here that talks about me individually, that what people expect of me is they generally expect me to be kind of guarded or masked. However, I'm more sensitive, can be pretty submissive at times. And we also did an assessment from Uniquely You that helped us describe what type of person that we are by describing whether we're the S factor or not. And for me particularly, I was the S. Some of the descriptions of what people expect of me was me to be sensitive, submissive, being loyal and friendly, kind of reserved in public, kind of withdrawn. That again we use from Carbonell. But the actual me, I'm pretty passive, strong people skills, kind of be a life of a party. However, sometimes I can be a quiet spectator. Prefer peace and harmony. Concentrate specifically on my projects. And again, I got this from Carbonell. So for me, some of my positive behavior blends, I'm pretty warm on an individual basis. I have solid personal abilities, and normally I kind of do what I'm told or what I'm asked. I appreciate open discussions and detailed discussions, and I'm very warm individually and collectively. And again, we were able to use Carnell assessment to be able to determine the positive factors. Some of my negative factors was that sometimes I can process thoughts too lengthy, lack of being commanding or demanding, analytical skills are kind of be overused at times, tend not to be assertive, fearful to speak ideas in a large crowd, and display a lack of confidence. At times that could be those are my negative behavior lens. And what we would like to do now is to discuss our potential barriers using Stewart with the Bridges, the book that we use in the class, Bridges Not Walls. It's frightful that my capacity to communicate skillfully has betrayed me. Difficulty finding the ability to express thoughts accurately. Discovering my feeling of privilege to talk up at times. And one of the biggest issues is disclosing myself to others. That's what Bertha Allen helped us to identify. Some of the barrier solutions are the trust that my ability to communicate skillfully will be effective. Also to focus on who I am by building my structure. Redirect negative statements to be positive. Trust it is alright to disclose parts of myself to others. And also rest would help to stimulate my mind to properly function accurately. It also helped us throughout the class to talk about that there are times that we have issues with noise pollution, external noise, and also we have internal noise, which we'll get into later. External noise deals with how things happen on the outside of us to kind of interfere with how we process and communicate with other people. However, some of the solutions is to be positive, be patient, not permitting past experiences to manage how we tune in and process information better is some of the solutions that can help us get rid of the distraction, the external noise. Internal noise helps us. One of the issues that I've had was talkers speaking too fast, noisy movement, doing a few things at one time instead of trying to do a whole lot at once. Solutions is kind of locate a quiet place to kind of deal with the noise. Go to a spot where there are less diversions. Concentrate on one thing at once and request comprehension and clarity. Again, we got this out of Berkeley and Allen. Now we're getting to the final part of this slide is to deal with the plan of action, how I can implement all that we've learned. Learn how to listen with aiming and pay attention, rework with clarity, regard what others say is imperative to them, take a break from class, to think about what we have learned so that we can really process some of this information and concentrate more on the other individual, not only myself. The next plan of action is to enhance my uncertainties. Do whatever it takes to be serious about how I want to communicate to others. Go to bat for myself, meaning that I do not have to just accept all that someone else is saying. It's okay to implement my ideas, and also to pray for boldness, to be able to interject what I know that is effective, and start to request what is legitimately belonging to me, because it's okay for me to disclose how I feel about certain situations. Again, this is what I've taken the time to review throughout our class today, dealing with interpersonal communication skills, and we will take these things and implement it throughout the entire class.